Hi, everyone. My name is Savannah Jensen. I am a Senior FinOps Success Manager at AWS. And today I'm going to be walking you through how to simplify your chargeback reporting with Amazon Billing Conductor. This is a replay of COP 211 from reInvent 2023. If you were lucky enough to attend reInvent and just want a refresher, welcome. If you couldn't make it out to reInvent or couldn't make it out to attend the session, get excited because we're going through it all again today at your leisure. So we commonly hear a lot of questions from customers about cost allocation. Some of the questions that you see here on the screen are, I would say, some of the most common ones and have to deal with grouping linked account costs, configuring custom pricing to show your end business units or your end customers a specific rate, and setting up cost allocation in real time so it isn't just a project for the end of the month when you are charging everyone out. So today we're going to talk through Amazon Billing Conductor and how to use it to answer and solve both, or I guess all three of those questions rather. So I'll talk through the benefits of using Amazon Billing Conductor, or ABC. We'll talk about how you can set up and create the ABC configuration, discuss a little bit of how to interact with ABC data. And then I'll pass it over for a quick demo so you can see what it looks like in real time and what it actually is like to configure some of kind of the pieces that go into creating these ABC reports. And then we'll finish out with pricing, resources, and a couple final thoughts. All right, so let's get into it. Some of the most common cost allocation changes that we see people have here at AWS are handling shared costs. So you can think of enterprise support or any sort of support charge as kind of the classic example. Providing cost visibility for all of the groups that share your AWS management account, making sure that everybody who kind of lives in that world has real-time visibility into their costs, knows what they're spending, and doesn't have any visibility outside of their little universe. And then, of course, calculating the true effective cost per group when you are charging things out at the end of the month. Because these are so common, we've got kind of an entire tooling suite that can help kind of resolve and fix each one to make that lift a little bit later. But what we're going to be focusing on today is Amazon Billing Conductor specifically. So what is Amazon Billing Conductor and how does it work? ABC is what I'll be calling it for the majority of the presentation, just for simplicity's sake. But in essence, it is a custom billing engine that allows you to define rates for your resources and set cost visibility boundaries within your organization. So from kind of the back end, if we're thinking about how it really works and what the guts of it look like, you can think of it as us essentially taking a piece of our billing pipeline, forking it into its own little world and opening up certain pieces of the configuration so that you as an administrator and a user of our billing system can add in certain pieces of customization, such as custom rates. These custom rates and kind of these boundaries that you define within your organization are going to allow you to control what your end users see and which groupings they see within kind of their section of AWS when they log in. What this essentially provides for you then is a way to simplify your chargeback so that you don't have to deal with kind of any sort of markup, markdown, discounting, custom pricing and spreadsheets outside of AWS. And it also solves the problem of cost visibility so that you can allow your users to see kind of exactly what you want them to see within a delineation that you specify. So why should you use AWS Billing Conductor and kind of when should you choose it over other cost allocation products? Cross-account visibility, which I mentioned before, is kind of the really big one that we see people get excited about. The ability to define those account groupings and define those boundaries and allow folks to kind of access multiple accounts data through one single account portal in AWS right in the console is a huge win. Rate management as well. AWS Billing Conductor is kind of the only AWS product in our billing suite that does allow you to set those custom prices and really configure the pricing and how it looks to your end users. It also provides custom line items. So if you want to add a certain fee for a monthly markup, a certain credit or discount to your linked accounts monthly, and kind of configure that at the payer level and really key in what that's going to look like for them, that's part of the functionality as well. And of course, it lets you provide and kind of perform that ad hoc analysis piece through your billing groups within the month, mid-month, in real time. As you can kind of guess based on the billing tooling suite that we do have and kind of what AWS Billing Conductor does in terms of processing the costs, you also get a curve per billing group and kind of all of the billing artifacts that you are used to at the payer level available for each one of these subgroups that you specify. And the last one is sharing and distributing commitment-based discounts. So these are your RIs, your savings plans, etc. The way that Billing Conductor handles them and the way that you can really think about them in terms of Billing Conductor is the AWS system is going to apply and continue applying these commitments in a way that is going to benefit you the most in terms of discount. So if you think about a savings plan applying to where it is going to save you the most money and kind of stack ranking down until either the commitment is exhausted or your usage is exhausted, Billing Conductor is not going to change that. It is going to let you define managerial boundaries throughout your organization to kind of show where that savings plan could be applying per billing group. So again, doesn't change how the application logic actually works, but does allow you to define those visibility boundaries and kind of that transparency based on the logic that you specify in the setup. So before we get into kind of the nitty-gritty of what Billing Conductor is, let's review how this looks in kind of an organizational lens. And I'll start by reviewing the standard consolidated billing family concept. So without Billing Conductor setup, let's say we've got 3 customers and they're all using a set of accounts as you see here. Customer 1's got 2 linked accounts, customer 2 just has 1, and customer 3 has 3 linked accounts that they use. In the classic consolidated billing family concept, all of these linked accounts roll up to a single payer or management account. That payer receives one consolidated bill and then pays AWS. All of that customer delineation, as you can kind of see at the bottom there, is handled outside of AWS, and you just receive kind of one consolidated bill that includes all of those linked accounts charges without any indication necessarily of where those customer boundaries line. And when I'm saying customer here, this can be an end customer if you're kind of part of our partner ecosystem, or this could be a business unit or kind of a subset of the business if you kind of delineate your business units that way. So now let's take a look at what the same account framework could look like with ABC kind of implemented on top of it. So again, we've got those 3 sets of customers there, but with the ABC implementation, we've kind of delineated different billing groups. So within those billing groups, you'll see that each one of them gets a pro forma bill, so a set of billing artifacts that is unique to that group. We've got a primary account set up for every single account grouping here. That's going to function as kind of a sub-payer in visibility only. It provides the ability to essentially go in through that primary account and see everything within the billing group that you've kind of configured there. As before, all of these are going to roll up to a management payer within AWS. That payer is still going to receive a consolidated bill that includes all of the charges for all of them, and that is going to be the bill that you remit payment to AWS against. So in this configuration, we essentially have kind of a very similar structure at the payer account level in terms of actually receiving an invoice that generates payment. But within each of these billing groups, we do have that sequestered visibility for each group to look at and to kind of use throughout the month as well. Great. So how do we actually use it? And what is kind of the creation flow of configuring an ABC environment? So the first thing that you're going to do is create a billing group. So we're going to define which sets of accounts we want to group together and kind of what we want to put in each of those buckets, shall we say. From there, you set billing parameters. So this is going to be kind of all of that custom pricing we talked about. If there's a specific markup, if there's a markdown, if you need to add in any of those pro forma line items for enterprise support, a credit, anything else that you want to kind of adjust on your end. Once that configuration is done and you've kind of waited for the bills to propagate, given that 24 to 48 hour latency that I think we're all so used to working in the billing system, you'll be able to analyze those pro forma costs in real time. So you as the management payer and kind of an admin user from the configuration side of things do have the ability to go into the payer account and switch between each billing account's view that you've customized. Your end users who are kind of logging into the primary accounts of each billing group will also have the ability to go into those accounts and analyze those pro forma costs throughout the month as well. And from there, you can generate reports, whether this is pulling in an Excel download out of Cost Explorer, looking at a cost and usage report, piping a cost and usage report of those pro forma costs into the CID framework or any other kind of downstream third party that you use to visualize costs, or just pulling down a billing CSV from the console. All of the tools that you're familiar with are available to you with that pro forma cost configuration that you've set up in that parameter piece. So if we're thinking about what a creation journey looks like, we essentially can think of those accounts again. We've got accounts 1, 2, and 3 here. We put all of those into a billing group based on how we want to group them together and what that business unit structure looks like. We then create a set of pricing rules. So this is going to be where we define those markups, markdowns, etc. We put all of those together in a pricing plan. We then define any custom line items. So again, think support charges with this one. And then we apply both the pricing plan and those custom line items to the billing group so that the billing group can kind of compute the costs that are visible based on the rules and the configurations that we've specified. Once we've done all of that configuration and kind of gotten the environment that we want to live in set up, you'll be able to interact with ABC data in kind of all of the ways that you'd expect. So Cost Explorer at the pro forma view will look a lot like the Cost Explorer you're used to. It'll just be defined based on the parameters that you've specified for those billing groups and kind of how far outside of the realm of that primary account it goes depends on which accounts you've added to a billing group. You'll still have all the same filters, time range, et cetera, that you're used to. But what you're looking at in Cost Explorer is going to be that pro forma cost based on how you defined your pricing experience in the management account. You'll be able to use Billing Console, basically the same as you always do at the primary account level in the billing group as well. Again, you will see those pro forma costs. You'll be able to see only the accounts that you've specified in the billing group. You've still got the ability to download that billing CSV as long as you've had it configured, and you can kind of track month-to-date costs and look at the service level exactly how you see here. From the management account, you'll be able to toggle between different primary account views. So you as the admin can check and make sure that kind of all of the pricing rules that you've configured are behaving as you expect, and you can check and make sure that your users have the view that you're expecting there. The other really exciting piece is you will be able to generate a cost and usage report with the pro forma costs per billing group. This is configured at the management account level and will provide each billing group a pro forma CUR that they can use to either kind of query directly, hop into a visualization tool, get those granular CUR level insights out of, and use much like you would a kind of standard payer account CUR that doesn't have any pro forma costs in it. All right, so now that I've kind of walked you through the basics and kind of talked through what the creation looks like, let's go ahead and get into a demo. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Rich, to take you through what it looks like to actually configure these things.
Hi, Savannah. It's great to be here with you today talking about AWS Billing Conductor, ABC for short. And hi, everybody. My name is Rich Roscoe. I'm in Tam out of Boston. And today I'll be taking you through how to set up and utilize AWS Billing Conductor. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you, this is my management payer account. And as you heard from the previous talk, that when you set up ABC, it does not affect your consolidated bill in any shape, way, or form. It continues to exist. And you can see here, this is the bills page. This is the billable view. And down here are all my accounts in my AWS organization. And it looks like a normal bill that I'm sure you're all familiar to look at and see. As a convenience, though, for the person who is setting up and maintaining ABC, you're also allowed to view the pro forma bill for each of the billing groups you've set up. And you do that by clicking on this wheel and selecting the pro forma data view. When you do that, you're able to switch between the billable view, which is the consolidated billing view, and a pro forma data view. Now, you can select which billing group you want to look at. In this case, we'll take a look at billing group 2. And as you can see here now, when we look at charges by account, we see just the accounts in that particular billing group. I'll take you through what that bill looks later, but I just wanted it to be clear that you can toggle between the consolidated bill and each of the pro forma bills that you've set up for each of the billing group. You don't have to log into each of the primary accounts of the billing group in order to see how the bill looks and see how things are running. Okay, so in order to launch ABC, you'll see off to the side here, there's a Billing Conductor tab. And when you click on it, it launches into ABC. And this is what it looks like when you first launch the tab. And when you bring up Billing Conductor, the first thing it shows is the dashboard. And the dashboard, it shows you the charged amount. This is what you're charging the billing groups for all of the accounts and the services used by those accounts. And it tells you there's 4 billing groups in that account. And then it also tells you how many accounts are being utilized and monitored inside the billing group and what the AWS costs are. So this is the consolidated billing cost, and this is the charged amount. When you first put all your billing accounts into a billing group, everything is charged the public rate. And once you start applying pricing rules and custom line items, and we'll get into what those are in a few minutes, you adjust the bill. So the difference between the charged amount and the AWS cost is the margin. And this is the margin for all of the billing groups that I have set up. And then down here, it breaks it down further into what the various charged amount is for each of the billing groups. So once you've taken a look at the dashboard to get an overview of how your billing groups look for the current month, the next thing to click on is billing groups. And as you can see here, I have 4 billing groups set up. Let's take a look at billing group 2. So when you click on billing group 2, it shows you what the primary account of the billing group is and its name, how many accounts are in the billing group. You can click on this to view the accounts in your billing group. You can also edit the billing group. So you can change the name, you can change the description, and you can also change the pricing plan, whether you want to use a same pricing plan or a different pricing plan. And you can also add and remove accounts to the billing group. So for example, I could add in this account to the billing group and click Save. Or I could also pull out an account from a billing group. If I add in an account, it's December 20th right now, and I were to add in this Roscoe Logs account, it would show up in the billing group as though the account had been there for the entire month. So lots you can do. The one thing you can't do, however, is change the primary account of the billing group. You'll see here that it's grayed out. In order to change the primary account of the billing group, you have to delete the billing group and recreate it. So let's cancel out of there. So let's actually go ahead and create a billing group. So we're going to call it the demo billing group. And we're going to call it demo billing group. And we're going to start off with a public on-demand pricing plan. As I said earlier, when you first set up a billing group and you have an empty pricing plan, all of the services for the accounts in the billing group are charged the public rate. Everything is stripped out. Any savings plans that were purchased at the payer account, any discounts that those accounts were getting, taxes, credits, all stripped out. So you're starting fresh. And if you want any new accounts that were added to the organization to automatically be assigned to this billing group, you can click on this button, but we're not going to do that today. So now let's pick the accounts to put into this billing group. We're going to pick these three. And from the three that I selected, we have to pick one of them to be the primary account of the billing group, and we'll pick this one. The primary account of the billing group, as you heard earlier, is allowed to see the pro forma bill for itself and all the other members in the billing group, all the other AWS accounts in that billing group. So we'll click on Create Billing Group. And now you can see here we have this demo billing group. The primary account is the member 7 with its account ID. There's 3 accounts in that billing group. And you can see here that we have this pricing plan. And right now, the pricing plan, it's called, it's empty, and there's no pricing rules in it. It was just created. And it's associated with the demo billing group. So with that, now let's go learn about pricing plans and pricing rules. So as you just saw, when a billing group is created, you can either select a new pricing plan to attach to the billing group or create a new one. And in our case, we created a new one. As you can see, there's no pricing rules in it. Let's go take a look at the billing group 2 pricing plan. So you can see this pricing plan has several different charges in it. Marketplace charges, AWS only charges, charges for the config service, different rates to be charged. Let's go learn and understand how to use these charges and set it up for the demo pricing plan that we just created. So we come over to pricing rules. Let's say that we want to create a pricing rule. We'll call it demo AWS and demo AWS services. And we want the scope to be service. So what we're saying here is actually, I think we'll pick billing entity instead. And what we want to say is for all AWS services, we're going to apply a discount of 2.1%. And we hit create pricing rule. In addition to, and there is the pricing rule that we just created. So all of the AWS services will get a 2.1% discount for all of the accounts in the billing group. Now we're going to create another pricing rule called Marketplace. And we're going to call it Demo Marketplace. And the scope is going to be billing entity, and the billing entity we're going to pick is Marketplace. And we're going to here apply a markup of 3.5%. So any Marketplace purchases that occurred for the accounts in the billing group of type Marketplace will be charged an additional 3.5%, and we'll create that pricing rule. All right, so we've created 2 pricing rules. Let's create a few more, but let's first talk about what scope means. So you've seen me pick a scope of billing entity, but let's talk about global. If we pick a scope of global, what that means is for any charge that's occurring for the accounts in the billing group, we're either going to apply a discount or a markup or disable tiering for all of the services. So it's very powerful and covers all of the spend in the billing group. So that's the least granular. The next most granular is to select either just the AWS services for the accounts in the billing group, or the marketplace spend for the accounts in the billing group. So we can pick one or the other, as you saw. Next, instead of billing entity, is to select service. And there we can pick a particular service. Let's say it's the AWS backup service. And if we say AWS demo AWS backup, and we say demo backup. So now we're picking for the AWS backup service. We're applying it a special discount of 4.0%. And if we create that pricing rule, which we will do right now, you'll see that we now have demo marketplace, demo AWS, and demo AWS backup. So let's continue to talk about scope. The most granular scope is SKU. So for a particular service, such as the EBS service, if you wanted to charge a particular rate for EBS GP2 or GP3 volumes, you could call out those SKUs, and I'll show you how to use those in a bit. So the most granular pricing rule always applies here. And so if SKU is present, the service pricing rule will not take effect. And if the service pricing rule is in effect, then the billing entity rule will not take effect as well. So as we can see here, we have demo AWS, demo backup. So the demo backup will get a 4% discount. The backup service will, and all the other services will get a 2.1% discount. So now that we've created those pricing rules, let's go back to our pricing plan. And you can see here that for this pricing plan, there's no pricing rules in it yet. So let's add some pricing rules to that pricing plan. And we come over here, we select these three services, and we hit Save Changes. And now we can see for the demo pricing plan, we have three pricing rules in it: demo marketplace, demo AWS backup, and demo AWS. So all marketplace charges for the spend in this billing group will get a 3.5% markup. The backup service will get a 4.4% discount, and all the other services for the accounts in this billing group will get a 2.1% discount. All right, so we've set up a billing group. We've applied some pricing rules to the pricing plan. You should note here that I have a separate pricing plan for each billing group, but if you have a pricing plan in place and it makes sense to apply it to another billing group, you can do so. However, a billing group, as you may have already realized, can only have one pricing plan applied to it at a time. Same goes for pricing rules. Pricing rules can belong to multiple pricing plans for convenience and ease of use. So now that we have set up this pricing plan, and because the billing data isn't real time, I've just created this billing group and I've just created this pricing plan. We can't really go look at the bills page yet because the billing data isn't real time. So let's go take a look at the bill for billing group 2. And you can see here, this is charges by service, and it looks exactly the same as you would normally see. And if we look at charges by account, you see here that for these member accounts, it's just these three accounts and there's no other accounts in the billing group. And then let's take a look at some of the spend in these accounts. And we'll do that by going back to charges by service. So let's look at the Elastic Compute Cloud first. So you can see here that all of the spend for this service is getting a 2.1% discount. And you can see here that the EBS service, since it's also under Elastic Compute Cloud, is also getting a 2.1% discount. And if we go down here and look at the config service, you'll see that it's getting a 3% discount. So why is that occurring? Let's go back and look at the billing groups. And in particular, let's go look at billing group 2 and let's look at billing group 2's pricing plan. So you can see here that we've set up a pricing plan that says for all AWS services, they'll get a 2.1% discount, except for the config service. We're overriding that 2.1% discount with a 3% discount. And we're also giving any marketplace charges that may exist a 5.1% markup. So that explains what you are seeing with respect to the way the pricing rules are applied to the services. Just to show you again, as a way to confirm that your pricing rules are taking effect, this 2.1% discount, this price is reflective of that discount, and that's how it looks. Now, you can notice here in the bill that we see that the for this particular account, they have some GP3 spend and some GP2 spend. And, we're happy that this particular billing group is utilizing GP3 volumes, but we're not happy that they're still utilizing GP2 volumes. So let's go do something about that by using some SKU rules here. So let's go over to the pricing rules for billing group 2. We're going to edit the pricing plan. And we're going to come down here and look at the pricing rules that I have set up. And you can see here that I have 2 SKUs for the EBS GP2 and GP3 services. So we're going to select those. And you can see here that if you're using the GP2 volumes, you're going to get a 1.8% markup. Whereas if you're using the EBS GP3 volumes, we're happy with that. You're going to get a 1.5% discount. So we're going to save those changes. And if we look at the billing group 2 pricing plan, now we see that the EBS for this billing group, those 2 pricing plan rules have been applied. And within the next few hours, it will show up in the bill here for this billing group for the entire month. So, all right. So now let's go take a look at Cost Explorer for this billing group. ABC was recently enhanced this past year in 2023, so that when you log into the primary account of the billing group, you see the spend just for that billing group. And to convince ourselves that that's occurring, let's go take a look here. And we see that for the primary account of the billing group, I can see the spend for it, as well as the other 2 member accounts in the billing group, and that's it. So anyone logging into the primary account would see the spend for all of the accounts in the billing group. If you happen to log into one of the other linked accounts in the billing group, you would see just the spend for it. All right. So now let's go back to the billing group. So we've looked at the dashboard. We've set up a billing group and added some pricing plan to it and set up some pricing rules, and we viewed that configuration. Now let's talk about custom line items and what they are. So as I said earlier, when you set up a billing group and the pro forma bill is set up, all of the enterprise support charges, all of the taxes and fees and credits, any savings plans that were purchased at the payer account, none of that will flow through. If you wanted to add a management fee to the billing group, you can use a custom line item to do that. So let's go ahead and create a custom line item. So let's say, for example, for this billing group, we wanted to apply the proportional cost of enterprise support for the month for this billing group. If we take a look over here in the well-architected labs, there's a query that you can run that will provide the monthly individual account chargeback for each of the accounts in the organization based on the amount of spend that each account incurs. So let's say you run this query either in a Lambda or however you want to do it. And then you come back here to the custom line items, and we create a custom line item. So we're going to call it demo enterprise support. We'll call it enterprise support. And we're going to say you can either pick the current month or the previous month. And we're going to pick the previous month because it's now we're in December, and for the previous month, we've calculated what the enterprise support charge should be, and we're going to say the duration is 1 month. It's not a reoccurring fee. The billing group that we're going to pick here is we're going to pick billing group 2. I can't pick my demo account because it didn't exist in the previous month. So if I had said the current month, for example, and I selected billing group, then the demo billing group would occur. But we can't add the enterprise support charges to it because it wasn't there. So just for the sake of argument, we're going to say for billing group 2, we're going to apply we figured out outside of ABC what the proportional cost of enterprise support was for the month of November, and it's going to be a flat charge, and obviously it's going to be a fee, and the cost, let's say we did the calculation, was $250. So now we create this charge, and eventually it will show up in the billing group. So if we come over here now for billing group 2, and we look at the details here, you see that the custom line item hasn't shown up yet because we're looking, this is December, and eventually it will show up for November. So let's go create another custom line item here, and we'll call it demo management fee, and we'll call it management fee. Let's say you wanted to keep it really simple. You want to charge all of the accounts in your billing group, all of the services, all the accounts, the public rate, and you just want to apply one simple management fee to the account, perhaps based on a percentage of the spend. So we could pick demo here, and we could say it's a reoccurring fee for the current month going forwards. And the charge type, instead of flat, it's a percentage charge. And we want to charge it a fee, and the fee is 5.4% of the gross cost of the billing group. And we can say here whether to exclude savings plans, discounts, line items to filter, and whether it is reoccurring here, and whether to also include one or more custom flat line items. By default, they're not included. So let's create that. So there we've created that demo management fee. So if we look at the billing group now for demo, you'll see that there is one custom line item that we set up for the demo billing group. It's a management fee, and it's 5.4% of the total cost of the billing group for the month. So those are custom line items. Everything that you're seeing here that I'm doing through the console can be done through the CLI and the API. So you could have infrastructure as code that calculates what the management fee is and then creates a custom line item for you. So now next are the analytics. So the first is the margin summary. And the margin summary, you can look at it either as all billing groups or select a particular billing group. So if we select for the billing period December, we select billing group 2, for example, we see that the charged amount for the billing group, this is the charges that the accounts in the billing group are incurring based on the pricing plan that we have in place for billing group 2. versus the actual cost that the billing group is incurring in the consolidated bill, and the difference is the margin. And you can see here what the margin is over the past couple of months. So you can look at just billing group 2, or you can select multiple billing groups to look at as well. So let's stay on billing group 2. Next, I'm excited to show you a new margin details feature of Billing Conductor to help you further evaluate and understand what the margin looks like. So let's pick the month of December and let's look at billing group 2. So the first thing it's going to show you here is the margin trend for the top 5 services in the billing group. And you can see here for Elastic Compute Cloud, for the previous 3 months, the average margin for each of the services are listed here, and what the margin is for each of the services for the given month. So that's a general overview of how, for the billing group, what the margin looks like for the various services over the course of the month. And then it gives you a further breakdown of each of the services. And you can see here that for guard duty, the charged amount, the AWS cost, the margin is 0. Let's come down here and look at, for example, System Manager. You can see here that the charged amount is $4.98, but the AWS costs are 0, and therefore the margin is $4.98. Why is that? Let's dig into that deeper so we can understand what is causing that margin difference to occur for System Manager. So let's go back to our consolidated bill. And let's take a look at the charges by account for each of the accounts in billing group 2. So first off, we'll look at the primary account for the billing group here. And you can see that there is no System Manager spend for the primary account of the billing group. So now let's go look at member 3 and member 4. Those are the 2 other accounts in the billing group. And let's look at member 3. So we come down here to System Manager and we click on that. And we see here that, there is some activity occurring, but it's all covered by the free tier. So the cost is 0 for this account. So that's member 3. And then we come up here to member 4 and we look at the System Manager spend for this account. And you can see it's the same thing. There is some activity occurring, some units and steps that are occurring, but it's all covered by the free tier, so the cost is 0. Yet we saw a margin, a positive margin. Why is that? So now let's go take a look at the bills page for billing group 2. And let's take a look at the System Manager spend. So you can see here that it's getting the 2.1 AWS scope discount because it's one of the services covered by that discount. But yet there is no free tier occurring. This usage is being charged a total of $4.98. We saw that when we looked at the margin details for System Manager's $4.98. So why is there a free tier not kicking in for this billing group? Now let's go take a look again here at this billing group 2. And if we look at the pricing plan for billing group 2, you will see here that we deactivated free tier pricing for the entire billing group. So that's why we have a $4.98 difference. We turned off free tier pricing because maybe to show that if you don't want free tier pricing to occur for the billing group that you set up, you can turn it off. You can also deactivate it for the individual services that also have free tier. Because I had the global free tier here, I didn't need to also have the Lambda one. But I wanted to show you that you can either be very granular and list just the services you want, or you can cover them all with this global free tier pricing rule. All right, so let's sum up in what we've done here. We created a billing group called Demo. We added some number of accounts to it, 3 to be exact. And we set up a pricing plan with some number of pricing rules in it. And all of the AWS services will be charged a 2.1% discount. The backup service will not get that. Instead, it'll get the 4% discount. And any marketplace spend will get a 3.5% markup as far as that goes. And then if we look at that billing group in a little bit more detail, we also created a custom line item, a management fee, if you will, and said that there'll be a management fee of 5.4% attached to the billing group on a month-by-month basis. In terms of where do custom line items show up in the bill when you create them, let me just quickly show you where they show up in the bill. So we're in here, billing group 2. Let's go back to the previous month. Let's go back to November. Let's go back to October. And if we look at charges by account here, let's look at charges by service instead. You'll see here the Billing Conductor service, and you might be asking yourself, why is the Billing Conductor service showing up here in my billing group? Well, when you create a custom line item, this is where the custom line items show up. They show up under the Billing Conductor service, and for this particular case, I have a custom line item here for savings plan covered usage net amortized, a credit of $493.42. And if we look at charges by account, for the primary account, you can see that Billing Conductor service is attached to the primary account of the billing group. So that's the other purpose of the primary account. The custom line items via the Billing Conductor service are attached to the primary account. That's one of its purposes and reasons for existing. And the other is that when you log into the primary account of the billing group, you can see the spend for it and all the other accounts in the billing group. So I hope that you have enjoyed the demo today. And Savannah, I will turn it back to you.
Thanks so much to Rich for that demo. I'm going to close it out with some pricing information, give you a couple of resources to look at in your own time, and wrap up with a couple of final summary thoughts. So if you remember what our pricing model looked like when this product first launched over a year ago, please forget everything you know about it because we've changed it fairly significantly since that time. Now, ABC bills based on a linked account framework, and it is based on the count of accounts that are monitored by the functionality. So as you can see on the screen, we've got kind of that tiered pricing element here. You'll pay $8.25 per account for the first 500 accounts that are monitored by ABC, and that price decreases as you add more and more accounts to the framework. One thing to note here is that we are charging based on the accounts that are monitored by ABC, not all of the accounts within your billing family. So if you've only kind of configured one billing group, that is a small subset of the accounts that are under your management payer, you'll pay based on the number of accounts in that billing group only. We've also implemented a 2-month unlimited free trial for a way to test out the functionality and see if it's going to work for you before you make any financial commitment. So as soon as you enable ABC, that 2-month timer starts. So please don't go in there and enable it if you aren't sure that you want to kind of configure that setup yet, because there isn't a way to kind of turn off that clock or to roll it back, even if you don't kind of finish the setup. However, that 2-month time period does give you a pretty good stretch to get a couple months of billing data under your belt, and see exactly what it looks like, give it a test for your end users before you do decide to kind of take the leap and continue to move forward with it as a constant solution. You can also estimate costs after the free trial using pricing calculator. We've got a fairly simple interface there that you can use to calculate what that monthly cost is going to look like going forward. We also do have a pretty wide selection of resources, lots of FAQs, lots of kind of recommendations for how to get ABC configured and set up and working in a way that is going to get you exactly what you're looking for. Please feel free to browse through these links or use that QR code to explore at your own pace. So to summarize, the first thing to be aware of when you are thinking about configuring ABC or kind of starting that configuration journey is knowing what you want your outcome to be. So getting an understanding of what you want each billing group to see once everything is configured, what you want their experience to look like, and exactly what you want that pricing to look like is critical. Once you start kind of building out all of the pieces of the puzzle that go into a successful ABC implementation, you want to make sure that you know what you want your end state to be, so you're not kind of just creating a bunch of pricing rules and cobbling them together. You want to make sure that you are using the configurations that are available to you to allocate and kind of delineate charges based on the way that you'd like to see them in AWS, whether this is a support charge or a markup or a markdown. Just getting a really solid sense of what your goals are and how you're going to make that happen with the functionality is critical here. And then, of course, kind of publicizing and evangelizing the fact that once it is set up, you can simplify that ad hoc reporting that you do with the billing tools that are all within the console. And you as an admin will have the ability to essentially perform that chargeback in real time at a very low lift way for each of your billing groups. But you're also providing that visibility to all of your end users. So making sure that everybody kind of knows that that's out there and is adopting it once you've gotten it set up is kind of when we see things be most successful for the folks who are using ABC for these purposes. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this session, be sure to check out the other recorded reInvent sessions that are kind of within the Cloud FinOps space. We've got a couple more uploaded on this channel as well. So if you missed reInvent this year, don't worry, because we've got you covered with the replays. Thanks so much and have a good one.